get right to breaking news for you. Less than an hour ago now, we broke the news that the merger between U.S. Airlines and American is officially done. The two companies will create the world's biggest airline now, leaving you with just 4 big carriers to choose from.
You know, Connie, I've been going through the news release from American Airlines. It came down a little under an hour ago, and the company says the combined airline is expected to maintain all of its hubs that are currently served by American Airlines and U.S. Airways, resulting in more travel options for customers. Now, the company will be headquartered in Dallas-Fort Worth. We expected that, but this news release says it will maintain a significant corporate and operational presence here in Phoenix. Let's break down what we know about the deal. The new airline will be based again in Fort Worth, but essentially led by U.S. Airways management. The company will have more than 600 planes, will fly 6,700 flights a day, and you'll now have the option of 336 destinations in 56 countries. It's essentially becoming a mega airline carrier. But all of it would still need to be approved by a bankruptcy judge, by the government, so we'll have to wait and see how long that process takes. Connie?
Right, and let's take you back to the beginning of all of this and how it started. The trouble for American Airlines began years ago. In fact, back in 2003, the airline was on the brink of bankruptcy, but labor unions approved cost-cutting contracts and they continued on. And then about 5 years later, American failed to reach new contracts with its union employees. And by 2010, American Airlines had reported a loss of $471 million, bringing total losses for that decade to $10 billion. Well, by the end of 2011, American had filed for bankruptcy protection, and in February of last year, the airline plans to cut 13,000 jobs. By April, U.S. Airways had reached a labor agreement with all 3 of American's unions, and then in August, on the 31st, the company signed agreement to share confidential financial information with U.S. Airways to explore their merger options. So it takes us to today with an announcement that the deal is done. What does this mean for you as a consumer, though? ABC 15's Courtney Carlmark is live at the U.S. Airways Sky Harbor hub. Courtney, good morning. We know this merger will have a huge impact on folks here in the Valley.
That's right, Connie. Whether you fly on U.S. Airways or you're an employee here, change is definitely coming. Now, I've been talking with both out here, and for the most part, general consensus seems pretty positive. I just spoke with an employee. She didn't want to comment too much, but she did say that the merger to her sounds like a good thing, and she is not fearing for her job. She's especially less concerned after hearing the news that the company plans on maintaining a significant presence here in the Valley. However, there is still a potential that Arizonans could lose their jobs because of this merger. 9,000 people work for U.S. Airways here at the airport and at the Tempe headquarters, and we already know that company headquarters is going to be moving to Fort Worth, Texas. Independent studies say 500 to 2,000 jobs could be cut here as a result. But if there's any silver lining to this, it probably won't happen all at once.
It's not a death sentence. They are likely to make statements that they're going to stay, or most of the jobs are going to stay. The reality is a lot of the jobs will be phased out over time, so it'll have a small impact each year, and I think that is essentially the best we can hope for.
Now let's talk about the new reality for you, the travelers. From websites to frequent flyer programs, change is coming. For U.S. Airway flyers, analysts expect programs like Star Alliance to transfer to America's One World. However, American has a lot less options. Plus, analysts worry that American's programs could be flooded with new elite flyers, now making it a little harder to upgrade or get cash and miles for tickets. Then there's the little things like pillow fees, which are free on American, to food, which is cheaper on U.S. Airways. Back out here live, I have been talking with folks who fly. I just talked with one man who flies often on both airlines. He says, hey, the merger seems like a good thing. His biggest concern is, will his frequent flyer miles transfer seamlessly? And also the fact that now there's less competition, which means that in the end, ticket prices could go up, and that could force him to look for cheaper airlines like Southwest, which is just down the way here at the airport, guys.
Yeah, and it sounds like ticket prices could go up and the frequent flyer miles will all merge. So at least that's some good news on the second half of that question answered. Thanks, appreciate it.